Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
I got an idea for a TikTok for you.
Uh, okay.
Do you know that song "Englishman in New York"
No.
by the Police?
Englishman in New York by the
Well,
police.
we're gonna do a parody of it. For you, it'll be like, "Whoa, I'm an alien. I'm an illegal alien. I'm a Republican in Portland," and it'll be a parody video of you, but you'll just be like sitting on the bus with like your arms crossed, all pissed off, next to like two girls with like short blue hair or short green hair or something. We could do that.
I like
Hey,
it.
how's it going, everybody? Episode 6, is it? Of
It's
the Eric
episode
and Brad
6.
Show. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Boom. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Oh, your visuals just went all blurry for some reason. It's like
It's
focusing on your face.
there it
There we
goes.
go. Now we're in for the people on YouTube. Um, Dude, real quick, speaking of TikTok and YouTube, one, I already got my TikTok planned, and I'm going out to do it
Oh,
tomorrow. So
oh,
fucking, I'm mine's cheap. Mine's super cheap. I'm not gonna spoil it. Next week will be all about it. But
mine was
you
cheap.
know, I started thinking, I was wondering, how does TikTok get away with copyright? Like, why is it that you can do all this shit on TikTok, and then on YouTube, if you play anything, they'll fucking ban, they'll take down your video. If you
Yeah.
play 10 seconds of any clip, you get booted off YouTube.
Are you
So I
saying
did,
you've been watching more TikToks?
yeah, I'm in it. Well, we made a bet, and I don't take bets lightly. So
Right.
I need to know, I need to know what the hoodlums of the age are watching on their TikTok videos. So I
Right.
did a little bit of digging. I went through like 3 threads with this question of, it doesn't. Do you wonder the same thing now that I've said that? Isn't that weird to you?
Yeah, yeah, now that you've said it. Yeah, because there's like song clips, a lot of like clips of songs, right?
Yeah, and there's no
Yeah,
way they're paying royalties on all these songs. You know what I mean?
right.
On a million
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah, there'd be no point because some videos like mine are gonna get like 100 views. Why would you pay royalties on that?
Exactly. So I read some threads, and there was a few like I'm guessing they were like theories because it didn't seem like I didn't know what was going on. One is that TikTok is owned by music.ly, Musically. Do you know what that is? I didn't know what
Yeah,
that is.
yeah, yeah.
And supposedly they do. Someone was saying like they have been paying royalties. So the fact that it's like the same company, blah blah blah, some shit like that. That explanation I didn't really buy. And then the other explanation I found on some threads was like,
Huh.
uh, they just don't give a shit yet, and they haven't been sued yet because it's like a newer
No,
thing.
yeah,
And
I doubt
so,
that. See,
and
and musically was like before it was an app where it was like singing a song. Like you'd put like "Don't Stop Believing" and you'd film yourself like "Just a Small Town Girl," and you'd make clips like that before, and that was the app before TikTok came. So if they're owned by Musically, that kind of makes sense because they're like it's like the same branch on a tree basically.
yeah. But then, I don't know. I didn't dig like
Yeah.
super deep. I just spent a few minutes researching, just typing it in on Google. But then but wouldn't that kind of make sense too? And then it got me thinking, what with copyright infringement, and then like big tech companies,
Yeah.
TikTok is based out of China, right? Or Japan? Is it China?
I don't know. How the
I
hell
think
should I know? What am I fucking work for TikTok?
I don't know. I just think you're fucking on the pulse of, the kids these days more than I am. Fucking
No, I'm just in the audience like everybody else.
I'm pretty sure it's a Chinese app. And then
Okay.
I started thinking, like,
Oh,
what if they really don't give a shit? You know what I mean? They're just like, what are you gonna do, bitch? Like, fucking go ahead and
right,
sue us. We don't care. Like, we ain't paying you.
right.
Right? Couldn't that be a thing? Like, I
No,
don't know.
There was actually, I remember now that I'm thinking of it, a big thing of it's a Chinese app that's stealing our data that was just like
Yeah.
made to steal Americans' data or whatever.
Yeah. Supposedly, if you're in I was reading a thing, if you're in the military, you're not allowed to have that app on your phone.
Yeah. Well, that makes me scared. And it's like, I don't know. A lot of these songs blow up on TikTok before they come to the world. Like that Old Town Road song. You know that song? I got
Yeah.
the horses
So,
in the back. It was
yeah.
big last summer, and
And it
it blew
started
up
on
on it.
TikTok.
It blew up on TikTok like 6 months before it came to the world, and then it was just fucking everywhere like crazy. I don't know, but I'm
Huh.
very curious to see what you come up with, because I probably could have made mine better, but
Mine's
anyway.
cheap. You'll find out next week. Mine
Okay.
is you're gonna be mad because I'm exploiting. I'm exploiting a cheap fucking angle. I think. We'll see.
Oh. Okay. Well, I used an animal, so
True.
yeah.
True. You did use an animal.
Okay, well, I'm feeling good. I'm glad we're just jumping right into it today. We have a lot of shit to get to. Um, I mean, we could I'll just throw this out here. This is just a little thing. There were some comments on our podcast episode 2 on YouTube that I haven't seen till now.
On
One was
YouTube.
from one was from yesterday. This is all about the polar bear versus a gorilla. So Chris, my buddy Chris, said a polar bear would not only kill a gorilla, but it could kill a tiger or lion easily as well. A polar bear can crush anything's skull in one swipe, with the exception of another polar bear. Its sheer size makes it much more powerful. Vince said taxation of theft. I did see that, and then I didn't see Cody Johnson say. Cody Johnson said gorilla could take the bear easy, even
Oh
with the
my
size
god,
difference.
Cody, you're fucking retard. No, thank you, Chris. You know, at least we have some intelligent listeners.
Yeah, he's gonna like that. So yeah, I didn't see that till now, but that's cool. People diving back into that debate.
Ugh. Boom.
Do you work nights all
Did,
week again?
yeah, all fucking week. I hate it. I hate it more than anything. What's weird is I've spent. This is now we're at 80 hours of hanging out, on a bridge, way the fuck up in the air. I'm starting to not give a shit anymore. Like,
About
yeah,
life?
yeah, I guess maybe. Like, I just don't even. You're only gonna die once. You know what I mean? Fucking. No, I don't know what it is. The last day, the last like 2 days, I just fucking. I don't know. My balls grew twice the size or something. Just I stopped caring. It was just like wasn't scared anymore. Like I finally.
It's like those dudes in old New York that you see hanging out on the skyscraper eating lunch, just like with their foot hanging down,
Yeah.
leaning back against a pole, like they're like tossing apple back and forth to each other. They're just in their 100 stories in the air. It's
Yeah.
like insane.
We were talking, the crew I'm with right now, we were talking about those guys last week. And my foreman was saying, that in New York, like, I don't know if any of this is backed up, but he was saying in New York, like the guys that work on skyscrapers, it's kind of like a tradition thing. You know what I mean? Like almost like a family thing. And then also,
Okay.
if you die, you're like a god. Like, that's what he was saying. He's saying, like, if you're from New York, you're a carpenter, construction worker, you're a skyscraper guy. If you fall to your death, you're like honored. Like you have like this high honor of
Gotcha.
between like guys like that. I don't know. I don't know if any of that's true. It makes sense. I could see that being a real thing. That would
Wait,
be
you were talking about this at work?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's because I was saying, I was a year or two ago, I looked at those pictures and I was like, I
Yeah.
could do that. I'm like, yeah, I could
Yeah.
fucking do that. And then we get up on this bridge and I'm like, fuck that. I could not do that. Like I couldn't do that. This is terrifying. And now I don't know. I've always thought I would be able to skydive. I've never skydived, and
Yeah.
now I don't know if I could. I've always thought I could. I was like, I could do that. Now I don't know.
I've never thought I could, but I mean, I think if I were to do it before I would do it, I would have to just say, this is it. This is the end. this is this is the day that I die, and just get real comfortable with that, and then be like, all right, let's do it. Almost
Yeah,
like we're just jumping without a parachute and just get in that mindset, and then you live, and you're like, hell yeah.
that would be the worst way to die ever. You'd have so much time to sit and think about the decision you just made. Dude, there's two ways to kill yourself. You either shoot yourself in the head and get it done real quick, or you got to do something that's gonna like fuck your brain up, like the exhaust pipe in the car type thing. You know what I mean? To where you're just gonna like pass out and not think about it. Fucking jumping off a building would be the worst fucking way to die ever.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. I'm glad you didn't say pills, because I think pills is a really stupid and fucking real shitty way to do it.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't do
like the exhaust in the garage. I think that's a real, like, I don't know, that's just like a classy way to do it, I
classy
guess.
way.
Like,
And I've thought, not that I think about killing myself all the time, but fucking but I mean, I've entertained the idea of how one goes about killing themselves. And I really think if you did the exhaust pipe thing, I think you would just slow, you wouldn't even, it would just be the slow, and your
sleep.
brain would start shutting off. Yeah. You just like, you wouldn't even be able to think about what you're doing after so long.
Yeah, the thing about jumping is that you're not going to fuck it up, because the people that fuck it up, it's like, if you're going to do it, you don't want to fuck it up, right? I would think you're not doing this to be like, maybe I'll die. I think you'd be doing it to like, I'm going to die. So jumping is 100% kind of, because there was a documentary about the Golden Gate Bridge, which the Golden Gate Bridge is like the number one place in the country that people kill themselves or whatever. There's like a record number every year or something like that.
San Francisco. I mean, it makes sense.
Well, yeah, but like people come from all over to jump off that bridge and kill themselves. And it was a crazy documentary. And it was like they were interviewing the guy that jumped to kill himself and didn't die, And he was like, as soon as I jumped, I was like, I don't want to jump. I don't want to die. Like as soon as he left the edge, he was like, I don't want to die. But that's just fucking craziness.
Fuck that.
But
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You get to think about it. If like you pulled the trigger shooting yourself and got time to think about it, you'd probably be like, oh fuck, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But done. Yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah, the thing about pills or whatever is it's not 100%. Jumping's 100%, but like you said, I'm not gonna jump.
Yeah, fuck that. It would be. I guarantee if I did it, which I'm not gonna do it, but if I ever did it, it would definitely be a gun. Like I guarantee it would have to be a gun.
Yeah.
Did you ever? I don't know the story. Maybe you. I believe it was a sports guy, so maybe you know the story more.
Shot himself in the chest.
No, wasn't there? I think a football player that like what is his boat crash or something like that, and he swam like fucking 2.5 miles or something like that in the middle of the night.
That's not coming to mind.
Like I think it must have been on. I feel like it was on a Joe Rogan like 100 episodes ago. They were talking about this, and like this guy just this incredible fucking
wow.
And I don't know. I just think about that with the guy that jumps off the Golden Gate Bridge. Hopefully it was the daytime when the guy did it. Because, if you survive, I'd rather be in the fucking bay in the daytime, like seeing what's around me, than the middle of the
this
night.
guy that I'm looking at is missing and presumed dead. Are you saying the guy lived?
I feel like, man, I shouldn't even have brought anything up because I'm just talking out of my ass. But I feel like there was some football player that like, yeah, he lived and like talked about it. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass.
I mean, that's terrifying to think about.
This makes a good segue. I mean, you can keep looking that up. I don't know why I brought that up because I don't know anything about that. But did you know that Brad Pitt is a boxer?
Is he?
Yeah. And I've been telling
I know he
people
smokes a ton of weed.
I've been telling people that for about 12 years. And then last night I finally decided, maybe I should fact check this because I've been telling people my entire life that not only was Brad Pitt a boxer, that he was in the Olympics. I've been telling people this my entire life. And so last night I finally looked it up. And no, he is not a boxer, but there is a professional boxer named Brad Pitt that was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so
Australian.
Australia, yeah. I told my girlfriend we were watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I'm like, did you know that Brad Pitt was a boxer?
Oh my God.
I'm such an asshole. Yeah.
Well, I know he smokes a ton of weed. Like people complain, like Angelina Jolie complained about it. Like he can't, he's always high around the kids. He's never sober around the kids. It fucking stinks all the time. Did you like that movie? Was it the first time you watched it?
And that segues into something else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, that was the first time
Jesus.
I finally like just broke down and rented it on Amazon. I'm a fucking obviously a huge fan of Quentin Tarantino. With a side note, there's some of his earlier shit that like the people that are like super into Quentin Tarantino that are into like all his bullshit movies. I'm not into it. I'm not into what's the one where they go down to Mexico and fucking there's like two of them, the horror one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fucking
I
hate that movie.
I hate that fucking
so
movie.
Stupid. And
yeah,
that's
it is.
like, yeah.
From
I'm
Dusk
not
Till
into
Dawn.
that.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
And there's another one too. He did like 3 or 4 like weird movies, right? Or maybe even more. Like just bananas off the fucking.
Yeah. You ain't gonna change my opinion about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It ain't happening. From what my opinion is now, it will not be changed.
Okay. Well, what's your opinion on this movie?
I think it's fucking amazing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we allowed to spoiler this movie? I've thought about it all week and I'm like, the movie's been out a while, but I mean, it just came out on video. So there's probably a lot of people that still haven't seen the movie.
Oh yeah. Fucking dog.
Here, I want to talk about it. Do you want to talk about it too? Because I really want to talk about this movie.
Yeah, so I saw it in the theater. I saw it in the theater last summer, and I've seen it a couple of other times since then. But yeah, it is kind of a big spoiler. Like he was even saying before the movie comes out, he's like, "Please, everybody, don't spoil it for people," because it is kind of a big spoiling. You can easily spoil it, you know.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna set a fucking stopwatch on my phone for 4 minutes, and then we will stop talking about it. So if you're listening to this and you do not want this to spoiled, just fucking fast forward exactly 4 minutes and we will be done fucking talking about it. The clock starts now.
What a nice guy.
Okay. Dude, we were watching it and like it's funny, I didn't pick up on any of that shit, but it has been so long since I've never really dived into the story of Manson before. Like, I know the gist of what it all is, but like, there's so many clues and things they're talking about in the movie that give it away. The ranch thing, like that's real. That's the name of the ranch, what they used in it. Fucking,
Manson was in the movie.
What?
An actor was in the movie playing Manson.
When?
He comes up to their house and he just wanders up the driveway and like the guy comes out and meets him in the driveway and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for so and so." And then he sees the girl behind him in the doorway and she's like waving and then he leaves. And he has like longer hair.
Oh.
That was Manson. Yeah.
Crazy. Now that
you have to watch it again.
That was a part of the movie. I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what is this relevant to? I need to watch the movie again because I've only seen it once. But fucking,
and that part's probably not based on truth. I don't know why they put that in
there,
but
no, and I mean, whatever. But dude, like 95% of the way through the movie, I'm like, when they're coming back from Italy, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is happening? There's no way this movie's about to end. They haven't even done anything. And then like fucking right at the end, that whole thing, just like, Oh shit! Like that's what's happening right now. This is Manson, dude. Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's one of my favorite Tarantino movies, or my favorite Tarantino movie. But man, in the last fucking 8 years, he has put out some bangers like Django.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking what's the other one with Brad Pitt? The Nazi one.
Inglorious Bastards.
Dude, fucking amazing. Like he has been putting out like seriously good fucking movies. I
Well,
mean,
I'm not a big fan of Hateful Eight.
what? Really? I
It's
fucking love that
okay.
movie. I
I
think it's
can't.
really well done.
I think every time I've watched it, I've liked it less. I don't know.
I disagree. But yeah. Yeah, if you have yeah, that movie dude, I was so excited about that movie. I think he knocked it out of the park on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Well, we
I
definitely went
agree.
under 4 minutes. I didn't know how long to time that. We're at 3 minutes. Um, yeah, yeah. Anything else you want to add to any Tarantino? Any Tarantino talk? Anything about that movie?
I mean, my two favorite directors of all time are Tarantino and Stanley Kubrick, and Tarantino is really not going to do any bad in my eyes. Except I'm not a big fan of Hateful Eight, but I'm not as big as fan of the Kill Bills as a lot of
Yeah,
other people are.
I don't like
You
Kill
know,
Bill either. I mean,
I
it's an
fucking
okay
love that.
movie.
I love that Tarantino doesn't do sequels and stuff like that. He's like an original director, but keeps doing original kind of movies, even though he takes from other directors. But it's just because he's a giant fan of movies and shit like that. And I thought Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was fucking great. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Like the
Extremely.
end, like as the end is going, and they're like showing timestamps of the night going on, and I was sitting in the theater, and I was like, fucking, it was like so much tension building, and like kind of like it was just so tense. You're like, what's because you thought that you were gonna see this chick get stabbed, right?
Okay, our timer just went off at
Okay,
4.
so anyway, go watch the movie. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, dude, I was very impressed. Yeah.
Okay,
Segment
moving
something else?
on. Hey, we should cut right now and do the guests.
Yeah, we can do
Yeah,
that. Just throw her in the middle.
I'm sorry.
No, everything's fine, man.
Okay, we're back with our guest. John's here. How's it going, man?
Dude, it's good. It's going well.
Your
So,
fucking camera quality looks amazing.
Yeah.
thanks, man. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
if you're just listening to this, you should switch over to YouTube and check out his picture
Yeah.
because it is blowing me away right now. It is super, super. I thought I was doing good, and now I feel like a POS because that is
Yeah,
just coming.
Well,
yeah, you look terrible.
Brad helped me with this whole setup. When the gym shut down, I had to go to streaming, and so that was the big push, was trying to get a high quality stream out of Zoom
Right.
to with this COVID madness. So that's why I'm sitting at my gym where my normal stream setup is for teaching classes. So
So
this is what,
are you still teaching online?
yeah, this is the last week right now.
Oh, good. Okay.
You're
It's
in
brutal.
Idaho,
Yeah. Yep. Still in Sandpoint.
and it's closed. Everything's closed. They open next week.
No, things are opening up. I mean, restaurants are open now. It's
Yeah.
all opening back up. So, but the thing is we're supposed to keep 6 foot distancing. You can't train jujitsu with 6 foot
Yep.
distancing. It's a
Right.
martial art.
Right.
I mean, so
Mhm.
I'm waiting a little longer. And the thing is the sheriff in this town is not reinforcing the mandate, the recommendation. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good on a business perspective, but I mean, we've been shut down for what is it, 2-3 months now? It's been
Yeah.
horrid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like you said, you can't teach it 6 feet apart. So has it been like any sort of success doing it online, or is it kind of just doing enough to get by?
Um, you know, it's been 10 times the work for 10% reward.
Yeah,
To
I could see that.
like it takes me 8 hours to do 2 classes because the classes
Right.
are only 2 hours, but It's writing the schedules because I have to write out specific technique that people can
Right.
do at home. And
Right.
then I teach the class, and then I record it, and then I edit it, and then I post it. And so it's so much more work, and it's for 10% of my people in the class that can
Right.
make it. But it's offering something. That's what it's about right now. It's offering something so that people hopefully keep a membership, and that's the name
Yeah.
of the game. So
No,
Right.
I mean, that's really smart to do. I mean, did you get this idea from other mixed martial art places, or was you just jump on this right off the bat?
I talked to all of my friends, black belts that I know, and no one is doing this. And I actually started looking into the Gracies that are in California, and they have a whole online university. And I'm like, oh, that would be so nice to have right now. A whole
Right.
curriculum already built out online, and their traffic went through the roof when COVID happened. So I want to say they have over 250,000 members paying a monthly fee. It's out of this world, and you can get promoted through their online university. And to be honest, they were being made fun of. Like, all the traditional martial arts guys were making hardcore fun of them. They were really mad at them almost. But now, who's the one that's still operating?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
the people that are up and on upcoming technology. So
Are you going to
Jeez.
continue this when everything opens back up?
So where I'm at is, these are great questions, guys. It's been like trying to figure this out on the top of my head, like fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to open the doors, and if anyone's uncomfortable, I'm also going to stream at the same time. I'm going to see how it works. I'm going to wall mount. I have a 42-inch TV, so that when I do the stream, I have people drill it, and I walk up to the TV and I look at all the individual squares, and I'm
Right.
coaching them. So, because what's the difference between learning jujitsu on YouTube and learning it through a live stream? Your coach can show you, no, dude, you're using the wrong arm. You're using the
Right.
wrong grip, So that's what I tried to discern a difference between a stream and a YouTube video is you can get feedback. So I don't know how the stream's going to do while I'm teaching a live class, but I'm going to take that TV and wall mount it above the wall mats, wall mount my camera. And so back to why my audio or my video quality looks so good is I'm using my professional photography camera to stream with. So Brad helped me back when he was in Idaho get this all situated. I ended up going a different route completely. I was having a heck of a time buying a capture card because when COVID hit, everyone
capture
went
card.
ham on the capture cards. So these, see if it'll focus.
Yeah.
It's not going to focus.
No.
So these
All
are
that
capture
money.
cards. They, come on.
Yeah, it's stuck on the back.
It's not going to focus. It's a macro lens too. It should focus. I don't know what's going on, but the capture card all got bought up when COVID went. All the webcams. Brad was with me. We went to all the different department stores, and you couldn't get a webcam to save your life.
Crazy.
So I paid twice the amount on eBay for this capture card because people were jacking up the prices. But this made it so I could plug and play my camera into my computer.
So I think I'm assuming it's really close to what I have. No? What? Oh, you're talking to
No,
your dog.
sorry. I was talking to the
like,
dog.
Jesus Christ. I bought, so yeah, I'm not like super tech savvy, but like I started this process like a year and a half ago I wanted to live stream my band. And I got my technical hurdle wasn't so much visual as it was, I mean, I wanted good visuals, but mine was more audio. Yeah, it was like, I need perfect audio. So I bought this box. It's called the Black Magic Web Presenter. And they have like a big box, and I almost got it. It's more like for a TV station that has like 12 SDI inputs and 12 HDMI inputs. But mine's just like the simple version. It's just has one HDMI input, one SDI input. I'm assuming kind of does the same thing. It's just like, so when they like the information on it was saying like, essentially what this does, you plug it in and then your computer thinks it's a webcam.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
when you
Yeah.
plug it USB into your computer, it thinks it's a webcam. But this one, I don't know if I'm screwing myself. Now I'm going to have to kind of look into what you're doing. This is meant for like Facebook or in Zoom, things that cap out at 1080p or 720. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, I'm not super technical, but it was saying like the box will only put you there. It doesn't matter. Like my camera is 4K, but
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter. I'm getting my box even before
Yeah.
the Zoom or whatever. It's capping it out at 1080p. Is what you're doing? Is there a cap there? Whatever you just called that card.
So this capture card is a 4K capture card.
So now your camera can be 4K. The
my
card can be
camera's not
4K.
set at 4K though, because again, it's one bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth to push out 4K. I'm at 150 megabytes down, but only 10 up, and that 10 is precious. I want it to be pristine, and also Zoom doesn't do 4K, so there's no point. And so the other thing is, so my camera is a Canon EOS R. It'll shoot 4K. I could do 4K, but I don't, and it's because it's 30 frames per second. So now we're getting a little bit more technical, but because I'm teaching a martial art that's fast moving, I wanted to run 60 frames per second. So 60 frames per second, there's twice as many frames in there. And if I run my hand across, it won't be as blurry. You will be able to catch, it won't look blurry. So I run it at 60 frames per second. And then the rule of thumb in photography and videography is you always double your shutter speed to your frame rate. So my camera is set at 125 frames per second. And then the reason it looks so crisp is because the lens that is attached opens up to an aperture of 1.8. It's a prime lens, so as a shallow depth of field, so everything's blurry behind me. And then the camera's autofocus has eye detect, so it's keeping me like pinpoint, tack, and sharp. So anyways, that's why the image looks the way it does, is the lens quality. What I've learned in photography is there's something called perspective megapixels. So for instance, anyone out there that shoots or uses a camera, the sensor says it's 24 megapixels or whatever your sensor says, your webcam says it's 12 megapixels. Your camera on your phone says it's whatever, the new Sony one's 100 megapixels, right? Well, that is in a perfect world with perfect glass behind it. Your glass is going to lose some of that quality depending on how good the glass is. So there's something called perspective megapixels. And for instance, my old camera was a 24 megapixel camera, and the kit lens that I got with that camera dropped it to 15 megapixels. So that's almost in half. It went down to 12 to 15, depending on the zoom range. That's massive. That's the lens I put on there. So the higher quality the lens, the glass inside, the more megapixels you're perceiving in what it looks like. Anyways, so once I learned that, I went and I rented a 50 megapixel camera from Canon on a Hawaii trip that I went on. And then I looked up the sharpest glass that I could get for that camera. And it happened to be a 300 millimeter lens. The lens cost $6,000, but I rented it. And I just wanted to see, I'm like, okay, so the perspective megapixels on that camera and that lens combo was 45 megapixels. So when I would take photos, as long as they were in focus, it was like, oh my goodness, you could just keep zooming and zooming and zooming. And you could see the quality difference in the print. So it was a big learning curve for me, at least, is the glass is more important than the megapixels, or the autofocus is more important than, the megapixels, because you have to have it in focus. So anyways, that was my journey. And I had all this equipment and I wanted to use it with my live stream. I'm like, I might as well. So that's why I went through the long road of hooking everything up. So
well, you're knocking it out of the park, because it looks really so yeah, I'm so extremely jealous. Like, I feel like I have a lot of work to do now.
Yeah, you
well,
do.
Dude, send me a message. Yeah, I'd be happy to help you out a little bit. That capture card should work fine for you. It's more or less going to be your camera's lens and your camera's autofocus system, and that's really where you're going to want to upgrade a little bit. So
I mean, I'm assuming I'm good right now with, as far as zoom, with my web presenter because I essentially have the same thing. Now I'm
Yeah.
just thinking I need to upgrade the camera, which bums me out. I wish I would have kind of done more digging before I went and spent the money I did on the camera I did.
Well, that's where everyone's at right now, right? The whole COVID thing has really, what I'm fascinated to see is the plus side of this COVID is seeing engineering at its best, right? What's the master of engineering is a need. People needed to change and modify. And when this COVID thing, it's a pain in the ass, but at the same time, it's like, whoa, like we're doing online shopping now and you can pick up your order, like all these things, there's so many different aspects that are changing that I think will forever change how we do things, like period.
Yeah.
They're going to be
for sure.
forever changed now.
Yeah.
Anyways, like for instance, I'm going to probably have a live stream for my gym that's accessible by members. So if they can't make the class or they're not feeling well, they can go on the website and they can see the live class and not miss it. Just as a perk, as an extra value. I would have never done that before if COVID didn't come. So anyways.
Yeah, or if they're vacationing or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But
what you teach like adults and children, right?
Yes, yeah. I teach
Separately.
adults. Yes, kids class, adults class. So, can
And
you guys
what-
hear the dog barking out there?
Yeah,
A little bit.
we can.
Okay, I'll go yell at her. She's playing with the dog. The door's shut, but she doesn't understand how mics pick up all kinds of background noise.
It's not.
okay.
It's not too terrible.
Okay. Yeah. So adults, kids class, and I'm gonna be kicking that off this next week here. Yeah. So
At North Idaho Jiu-Jitsu.
yes.
Yeah, you want to plug whatever you want to plug. I'm assuming you want to plug your photography stuff too. Like where?
Well,
they
I
can
mean,
find you.
I want to plug jujitsu. I mean, if you've never tried it, I think, and you want to learn a skill that gives you more than working out in the gym, you actually have a skill to follow, martial art. Jiu-jitsu is phenomenal and on so many aspects. But if you're in Sandpoint, just come on in and I'll give you a free class and you can check it out, try it out, and I'll show you what it's all about. So, but there's big podcasts like Joe Rogan that he just preaches left and right about jiu-jitsu. So, but anyways, Erick, so are you in Portland? Erick?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going
You
to
know.
people listening. I think he's going to yell at his dogs.
God, I have a
Weird.
bunch of questions, but I don't know if they're like going to make sense with what we've talked about now. I don't know if I should just rapid fire them.
How is that treating you over there?
I mean, I don't know where I want to live. I think I honestly feel like Texas is where I want to end up. But right now I think I'm only here because of the money. You know what I mean? Work wise.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's cool. I like being in a city environment just for stuff to do, but I think I could do that anywhere. You know what I mean? Sandpoint's all good and great, but I hate that you have to drive 45 minutes or an hour to get to Best Buy or something like that. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
there's 4 Best Buys within 10 minutes of my house. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And there's also 4 people inside that acre that you had no one usually.
yeah.
I hear you. There's definitely pluses and minuses. I was a little surprised when I listened to your first episode. I was like, oh, he's in Portland. I was like, because when you're raised in a small town like Sandpoint, that is a big change,
Yeah.
Will you clear something up for me so that I can figure out if I'm completely going crazy or not? Didn't you tell me that Erick would drive you to school before?
Yeah.
And that he was listening to Incubus?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't remember that, and it makes me feel like I'm fucking going crazy because he doesn't remember.
No, it makes you feel like you're going crazy. It makes me feel like I'm going crazy. I don't remember this.
Yeah, because so for people listening, Erick was my neighbor. Like I could see him across the road, and we're in small town North Idaho, so each lot is a couple acres. But you were my neighbor, and I was trying to remember, what year did you graduate?
07.
Okay, so we were 3 years apart. So you might have been a senior or a junior, and you gave me a ride a couple times because I think I don't know what happened, but a couple times, yeah, you gave me a ride. Would you have like an old Chevy pickup?
I had a Ford F-150 inline six
Okay, it was
that
a
had
Ford F-150.
that had a hole in the side of the muffler and used to spit flames. I loved that truck.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
You
Were
probably
you-
fucking overslept and missed the bus, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, dude, I had to ride the bus my whole childhood, and you know what? I wouldn't take it back at all. Those things,
Dude, the Shingle Mill bus line was phenomenal. That group of kids that were on that were so legit. Dude, I am blanking out this completely. I mean, I did a lot of questionable things in my early to mid 20s. So my brain doesn't work how it should. But
Yeah.
man, I'm just blanking. So what? Okay. I lived at 1165 Shingle. I'm not to get like, but I need to know this. Like, I lived on 1165 Shingle Mill Road. Like, what do you mean you were across the street from me? Like, there was the horse people across the street that had some horses. Then there was a truck driver, like, right next to him. And then
you have a memory to remember each person, but you can't remember it. Driving me a couple days. I don't remember all that.
That's a good point.
were you in the car when we got pulled over?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when
Oh,
the flame
Jesus.
thing, you were in the car
Yeah.
when that happened.
Yep.
Okay. Fuck, dude.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know what I do remember that. Yeah. So there, Brad, we were going to school one day, and like I was saying, my truck would shoot flames, and so
Uh-huh.
and we're like downtown, and dude, all these fire trucks and ambulances and cops are like behind me. So I pull over to the side of the road, and they all pull over behind me, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, we're on our way to school. And then, yeah, we get pulled over, and they're just like, someone called the cops and said that a truck was on fire driving
Yep.
down the road, and it was just shooting flames out the muffler or whatever. Yeah, it was bananas. It was such a weird experience.
Yeah, it
Jeez.
was-
And I knew someone was in the car with me, but I could never remember who was in the car with me.
That's fucking weird.
So I remember you did have a 3-wheeler though, right? You used to
Yeah.
roll that thing around, and you would always drive on 2 wheels. You'd always like be hopping it around.
Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You remember my childhood better than I do. I don't even remember. Did you come over to my house or something?
Do you remember? No, I never came over to your house. I didn't know you that well. Do you remember us having huge airsoft games at my house? Well, I guess you don't even remember where I live. So,
I don't remember that at
Okay.
all.
Okay. Well,
yeah, because
I was there
Brad
for
was
that.
over. We got really into airsoft. My brother did, and he drug all of us along. And we'd have huge teams, like 40 people, I would say, 20 on each side, give or take. And we would deck out the whole house in bunkers. And we had a couple neighbors really get concerned the first time we did it, because it looks like everyone's running around with real guns. We didn't have
Yeah.
chips on our guns. They're all 1-to-1 replica. We're all in military BDUs. It looks
Yeah.
real. And
yeah.
I was always curious if
If I'd made
What
it
the
over there,
neighbors
man, I'm jealous. Like, I would have loved to have gone and done
Oh.
that. I was actually
was a
supposed
good
to
time.
go paintballing this morning.
Oh, did you?
I skipped out on it. Yeah. I think I'm
Oh,
gonna go next weekend.
I paintballed before airsoft, and and I did that. All that was, but airsoft, it's on another level, and it's
I've
hard to
never done it.
explain. It's
I've-
only when you go with real good guys, though. Like when you go with like your
Yeah.
shitty kid neighbors with little kind of plinker. I mean, like the best guns, military guys, and then it's like, wow, this shit just got real. It
Yeah.
feels, people are giving, you're not talking, you're using hand signals because there's a guy around the corner, and and he's shooting 500 feet per second, and it's just like, dude, it gets fun.
Okay, so the complaint I've always had about it versus paintball is the cheating aspect. Because with paintball, you can't cheat. Like, you get hit, everyone sees it. And even then, people cheat. I've cheated in paintball. Like, I get hit, and like, just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't get hit. Like,
I think you're honestly going to get that anytime someone's not really dying. I mean, like,
Right.
if it's a game, you're going to get someone trying to cheat. The thing is one, our submachine guns, our close quarters guns would shoot BBs this close in the air. You could see them just stacking in the air. So no one just shot once. You would get a burst of 20 or 30 BBs in your chest, and you're screaming to stop. I mean, it's painful. And then the snipers, they're like lobbing heavy BBs at 500 feet per second. You know, you can hear it hit the person. So we didn't really get too many cheaters, because if you did cheat, people wouldn't stop shooting you. You would just get lit up. They'd dump a whole mag in you.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, did you not get hit? You know? So that's how we solved it. Like, I remember getting hit in the face close quarters, and it would rip layers, like it would completely be bleeding. It would rip layers off of my face. So, but anyways, I just watched a video on YouTube, and it was a live firearms trainer. I don't know his name, but I've seen him, and he does classes, and he does, like, you know, normal firearms classes are 3 days or something, you know? And he and a bunch of people, 20 plus people, sponsored a Japanese kid to come over and take the class. And all the Japanese kid had been doing for 2 to 3 years was playing airsoft and doing airsoft drills. He would watch the guys' drills with real guns, and he would do them with this airsoft gun. And he posted a video, and he's like, is airsoft applicable to real life training? And at first, like, the first time that guy shot a gun was in the class. And I'm like, oh man, that guy is so spoiled. He's not going to have any bad habits, because that trainer is instantly fixing him. You know, he's like, no, don't anticipate. Okay, now you need to correct this. And like, but once he figured out the recoil, that Japanese kid was shooting as fast as the instructor. And he knew all the drills. It was phenomenal to watch. And he's like, cool. Well, if we're going to take anything out of this, what is it? It's trigger time. He has more trigger time than all these other guys, and he's shooting faster than him. And he just shot a live gun today, you know? I'll have to share it with Brad. It's really impressive. I never would have thought that a kid could take away that much in Japan, where they can't even have guns. So anyways,
boom. The YouTube video is what you're talking about. You found this? Because we could probably, if you send it to Brad, we'll just link it. We'll try to link it into the description of the episode.
Yeah, I'll send it to Brad. It is worth a watch. If you're a gun guy, being able to do drills in your house, and you can do them with 1-to-1 replica pistols that have blowback magazines, everything's the same. You can take your gun loadout and you can put an airsoft gun instead, and you can do all your gun drills with an airsoft gun at home. And if you're crazy like that, you know, you're a gun nut like that, I mean, it's training. It's worth it. So, because real bullets cost a lot of money, and you have to go to a range, and there's a lot of problems with that. So
So you're pretty invested in this airsoft thing?
I haven't played airsoft in years.
Do you have guns?
Yeah, I love guns.
No, I mean, do you have airsoft guns?
Yes, I just have one rifle. It's what I had when I used to play with Brad, my brother, and you know, the thing is it's like dirt biking or snowmobiling. If you don't have people to go with, it's kind of a pointless thing to have. So everyone kind of had to do real life things and work, and so we couldn't just play on the weekends because we're all in high school, you know. So it kind of went downhill, and I haven't played in years, but I did make me want to get a pistol again, like a pistol that I have, you know, a replica of a real pistol I have. That way I can put it in my holster and practice drills and reloads and practice left-hand shooting and all these things that are, you know, fun to do. People think guns are just guns, but it's a skill. You really have to know how to shoot, and it takes time to develop that skill. So and I had a crazy idea of doing a kids summer camp in Sandpoint and teach them jujitsu, but teach them also like how to camp, wilderness survival tool. Like when I was a kid, I learned how to throw knives. That was the pastime activity. Brad and I would play pig with throwing knives. You know, that was the game. And these kids nowadays, they don't get that. And so if I could teach a kid how to shoot a gun safely by giving them an airsoft gun first, and bingo. I mean, I think that would be awesome. Is teaching.
Dude, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I think there's a lot of kind of stuff like that, but to incorporate jujitsu into it, I've never heard of anything like that before.
kind of like I mean, I'm thinking like a full scope, like a, you know, rites of passage type of thing. You know what I mean? Which I feel like a lot of people don't. Yeah,
Yeah.
like young men don't get that, which is good that you're doing
Right.
like jiu-jitsu thing. I think that's good. Parents getting them into that, but you know,
Yeah.
We could call
that'd
it
be
like
super cool.
the Spartan week or something, you know, training to
Yeah,
be a Spartan.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, that's rad.
But jujitsu is hard. I could teach you so many things in so many hours, but it takes a long time to learn, you know.
Well, like,
So,
how long have you been doing it?
over 8 years.
And you're a blue belt,
I'm a brown belt.
brown belt. Is that one before black?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you care about getting to black, or is that just?
Um, I care as in it's a sign of progression, but I
Yeah.
don't care because I'm at where I'm at and I'm going to continue getting better in training. And a black belt doesn't change anything as a person. If anything, it just makes you more aware of what you don't know. People think like, you know, whenever you see a person and they're like going to get in a fight and they're like, I'm a black belt, like, oh
Yeah.
man, that's a dead giveaway that you don't know shit. I mean, I'm
Right.
just sorry, but you're not going to announce to people that you're a black belt because a black belt really is you're starting to learn. I mean, 10 years of an art. So jujitsu is one of the longest arts to get your black belt. Kids can't get their black belt in jujitsu. And on average, it takes 8 to 15 years, depending. And honestly, most people are on that latter part, 15 years.
Right.
So it takes a long time and you can't get it. It's just, I don't know where I was going with this, but, you realize how much you don't know. It's simply put, you know, you don't want to get in fights because you train so much, you know what that looks like.
Right.
Someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to go to jail. Like, you know, you have the skill set that you're better off than most people, but you understand it well enough that you don't want to stick your hand on the stove. You know, you're going to
Right.
get burnt somehow. Right.
No, that makes sense. It's like the more you start understanding something and wrapping your mind around it, then you're like, okay, I actually don't know shit about what's going on. Yeah,
right.
That makes sense.
What bothers me the most, I got on a tangent one night and I was watching, all these cops have body cams now, right? All these cops are wearing body cams and they're releasing the footage. And I got on a tangent of watching body cam footage. And I was like, okay, I need to produce a law enforcement class because I'm not saying I know everything and I'm the end of the world, but I could really give these cops some tools to help them because they just don't know how to control a person, right?
Right.
And people are dying because of it. Because it's like, what happens when you don't know how to get out of a situation? You use the tools you have. And if the tools you have are a taser and a gun and the taser's not working, you're going to shoot someone.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And you see those videos of like two cops wrestling someone on the ground and the guy like slithers out and starts running and you're like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yep.
And then they have to pull out some other tool and it's like, "Oh my god, dude, you guys were both on top of him." Like
just what was it, 4 weeks ago or so, two cops in New York were trying to apprehend a guy in the subway and they weren't controlling his legs. Well, for instance, usually when there's two cops, one cop goes after the chest and the arms and trying to get them rolled over to pin their arms. And the other cop's job is to pin their hips and their legs. And the lady that was supposed to pin the hips and legs, she was lazy and you could tell she was just fed up. She probably had a bad day and she gave too much space. The guy mule kicked her all the way across the subway and she fell into the pit where the train comes in.
Oh my god.
That's like a 5-foot drop and she fell on railroad track, you know. Oh man, she's so lucky. She could have died right there.
No, it's so helpful for cops. I don't know why they have like, you know, they're behind the curve. You can't just send someone out there with a gun and a bulletproof vest and expect them to be fucking Rambo. Like they need more tools, more training.
Well,
I bet. Well, I would assume there's a good amount of cops that do, you know?
Yes.
do.
Yep.
Yeah.
do fucking. That makes me giggle. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Is there any cops in your program that do it?
Yes, so there are, and I love it. But it takes a special type of person and especially a cop. And so that's one of the biggest problems I'm having with police officers training is they have to be humbled. And it's
Yeah.
hard for a police officer that's used to controlling a situation coming into a class and getting beat. Like,
Right.
when you tap in jiu-jitsu, you're giving up because they can, one, pass you out with the choke, or they are going to break something on your body.
Yeah.
If I
Right.
get you in an arm bar, you're tapping, because if you don't tap, I'm going to snap your arm in half. And
Right.
so when you tap, it's a fundamental thing in your brain. You are, it's humbling you, because you have to admit failure. And that's why we call it in the jiu-jitsu community, it's the douchebag filter. Because when people come in, and if they can't handle being humbled, they're usually kind of douchebaggy people. I'm not judging anyone, but it takes a special type of person to be humbled and get defeated by a 80-pound, 90-pound female, get tapped out by a little girl, you know, that's been training for 6 years or something, you know, like,
Right.
So for cops, it's a hard thing to do, because they're usually in a place of dominancy, and they're in a place where they have to, you know, show that. And so they have to get over that hurdle. If you can get over that hurdle and you can be humbled and realize you don't know shit, then you'll do great. You know, you'll do awesome. But one of the most common things I get from police officers is they say, because jiu-jitsu is training a lot on the ground, and they say, well, I never want to be in that situation, so I don't want to train it. And I was like, well, the problem is if you are in that situation, you know, if you only train stand-up, boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, that's all fun stuff. That, don't get me wrong, that stuff is awesome. But what happens if you go to the ground, which most fights go to? You know, you don't want to fall back on something you're worse at. Then you're done. That's your life then, right?
Yeah.
If you fall back on something that you're worse at, you're done for, especially as a police officer. So I would rather learn jiu-jitsu, because it teaches you the worst positions possible and how to get out of those and progress forward, then learn striking. Because if you're an okay striker and the guy outstrikes you and he takes you down to the ground, but you're better on the ground, you might still win the fight.
Yeah, because it's all about if someone bigger is on top of you, right? That's kind of what you want to. That's the worst situation possible for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, really I never have gotten into the UFC thing like other, you know, like other people have in the last 10 years. But, you know, growing up seeing, you know, like 10 years ago, the first time I saw Gracie, I always forget which Gracie, but, you know, the one that became the most famous, Royce Gracie. Like watching him, dude, there's like multiple fights with him where he'll just stay on his back. Like they'll just get up and he's so comfortable. It's so cool to see someone that's like so comfortable on their back. Well, the other person will get up and he'll just stay on his back and be like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, go for it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think, I think it's cool seeing it blow up like culturally. People realize how effective of a fight, you know, how effective, if you're really good on the ground, like how devastating that can be. Like you could have, you know, Chuck Liddell coming at you, you get him on the ground and he, you know, it doesn't matter how hard he can hit. You're going to just destroy him on the ground.
And don't get me, it's not easy, but the whole.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying like the pursuit of becoming good at that is super cool. And it, you know, if you really think about it, it makes sense. Like, yeah, most fights end up on the ground. You know what I mean? It's most people are, you know, if they're not comfortable, you know, if they're not a boxer, they're going to spear. You know what I mean? They're just going to spear and try to take you down, and then you're wrestling.
Right.
So, do you remember, Brad, the concert we went to at the Gorge with Nick?
Yeah.
I had that conversation with a mutual friend of ours, and he saw me because we're waiting at whatever we were doing, and he saw me doing this, and I was sitting here and I'm daydreaming about jiu-jitsu. And if people that can't see this, if they're watching it, I'm grabbing the inside of my sleeve and I'm rolling my hand in, because it's a move called an Ezekiel choke. And in jiu-jitsu, you wear a gi, which a gi is just like a jacket. It's just like a jacket I'm wearing now. And so you learn to use the collars of the jacket as a tool and the sleeves. And so I was doing that, thinking about this move, because once you do jiu-jitsu, it's like it gets intoxicated in your brain. You can't stop thinking about it, right? It's like chest going on in your brain. And he's like, well, dude, I've won every single fight I've been in. I was like, oh, no way. Have you won every single fight? And he's like, I I tackle him, football tackle him. I get on top and I ground and pound. Brad, do you remember this?
Yeah, kind of. I think people were drinking, but yes, I remember exactly what
course.
happened. What happened? Yeah.
Of course, people were drinking. So,
Right.
and I think that's the only reason Nick would. Sorry, if I'm throwing you under the bus, Nick, I think you're fine with it, man. It was a good time. No one got hurt or anything. I don't think if he wasn't drinking, he would have been up to actually show me what he did. And I was like, all right, dude, show me what you do in fights. I want to see, and hit me. Like, just don't knock me out or something. If I mess up, you know. And so I wanted to see. So he came in, just like you said, speared, right to my gut. I had only been training for 2 years or something. I don't even think I might have been a blue belt. And when he said that he tackles people, the first thing that came to my mind was like, okay, I'm going to do the Dars choke. I love the Dars choke. And the Dars choke, you take your arm in front of their shoulder. One arm goes in front of their shoulder. The other arm goes behind their armpit. And you grab your arms together. And then you slide it up to their head and you push their head down. And you end up choking them with one arm across their neck. And then their other arm gets forced into the other side of their neck. So he took me down. He was on top. I was on bottom, but I had the Dars choke in. And I know he doesn't know jiu-jitsu, so I held it for about 2 seconds, just 2 seconds, just 1, 2. And I don't know how, but a bunch of people hurtled around. It was like, it didn't take but like 5 seconds, and all these people were huddled around. And it looked like I was losing because I was on the ground on my back. And then I let go. And Nick, I remember he popped up. His eyes were like this big. He's like, what in the hell was that? You know, just because he had never experienced a blood choke before. It's not air. It's not, you can still breathe. It's your blood is getting shut off and your brain is going to pass out. You will black out. So anyways, for your instance, most people, you're right, are just going to tackle you because they don't know how to strike. And so they're going to get close and they're going to tackle you. But anyways, it's addictive. You can tell I'm passionate about it because I love it. It's a cool lifestyle, right? I love coming in here day in and day out and just training with people and impacting other people's lives. So
hell yeah. Anyways, so wait, okay. So one question from someone who knows absolutely nothing, and then we'll wrap this up. So I was thinking the other day, I was like, okay, someone with as much knowledge as you have, and I'm thinking way back in the day when jiu-jitsu was kind of being like, you know, put together or whatever, people were like coming up with moves and naming them.
Okay.
So could someone still create a move today, or have all the moves been already created?
No, it happens every single day. I mean, and they have to go through a filter, and that filter is, does it apply in real life? So there's two real sides of jiu-jitsu. And back to the UFC days, Royce, the only reason he joined the UFC was to show how effective this art was as a self-defense art. He wanted to go against bigger guys. He wanted to show this art is like David beats Goliath, you know, where karate and all these other martial arts, they don't have that real, like, you know, that magic ending that everyone liked to see, you know, because when you have a real fight, I'm not trash talking. Every martial art is excellent for what it was intended for, but UFC filters out only a certain styles of fighting, right? And for instance, high kicks in karate were excellent at kicking people off a horse. There's no horses in the UFC. There's no people standing on top of a horse, you know, but yet they're using some of those kicks to kick people in the face and knock them out, you know? So moves are being developed. And then if they work, for instance, in competition or in fighting, then people have to learn counters to them. People will learn. And that's why my gym's called North Idaho Jiu-Jitsu, not North Idaho Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because once Jiu-Jitsu came to America, it really turned into American Jiu-Jitsu, and Americans really started putting the gas on it, and they started developing all kinds of new moves. I don't know if you guys have heard of people like Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo has his own complete style of Jiu-Jitsu that he's developed, and it's effective because he's catching people, you know, he is submitting people with his style. So that's the beautiful part, is you can come up with every crazy move, and each person comes up with stuff that works for them individually as well. You know, you get to learn, like, you like certain moves and you like to do things a certain way. There's not like a black and white. So anyways, yes, to answer your question, I have certain things that I don't know if they're official moves or not, but they work for me, and I
Right.
teach them to my kids, people in the school. So
Oh, that's
moves
awesome,
are,
dude.
yeah, like just recently there was in the UFC, someone did a Ezekiel choke that I just was showing you, but from mount. No, almost always it's done from from the top position, and they did it from mount with no gi. It was not grabbing their sleeve, they were grabbing their forearm, and they let the person come onto mount, which is sitting on their chest. And that was like, whoa, that just was effective. Like he just got the guy to tap. And then the UFC had what was called a bully. They called it a bully choke or schoolyard choke, where it was like a headlock like this, and the guy was leaning back and the guy was behind him. It's just, you see random weird stuff all the time. And sometimes
Wow.
it makes it through the filter and is effective for all kinds of people. And sometimes it only works once or twice. And then it kind of, people learn counters to it and they quickly move on. So,
Right.
yeah.
Oh,
Anyways.
nice. That's awesome, dude. So North Idaho Jiu-Jitsu in Sandpoint, Idaho. So if someone wants to look into this and they're in the area, what do they do? Do they just show up?
If you're anywhere and it sounds like jiu-jitsu is something that you would be interested in, just find a local gym, and then go in
just
there
call
and
them
try
up.
out a class. So
Okay.
most gyms offer a free class, and you're more than welcome to, check out, if you're in this area, check out my gym. I can speak for that. So
Boom. Where can
I'll
they find you? Like you have Facebooks, anything like
all
that?
of it. Yep. You just
All of
punch in North Idaho Jiu-Jitsu on the interwebs and everything will pop up. So
Boom. Heck yeah. Do you want to plug any photography stuff or?
I mean, yeah, if you need a photographer in the area too, or you need someone,
Oh.
I'm really trying to take on specialty jobs, something that I quit my job a year ago. I was working for the city to become a photographer, and it's been a rough road. Luckily, I had the gym kind of as a backbone for a business. But anyways, if you need a specialty photographer, we can put that in the show notes or something. I have a website too.
What's
is it okay? Oh, yeah.
The website's just johnbrown.co, not .com. So just take off the M and johnbrown.com. .co. What's that, Brad?
So I'll put that in North Idaho Jiu-Jitsu in the description. So that picture that you took that I posted today?
Yeah.
So I'm planning on posting that to Facebook tomorrow. Do you mind if I'm like, hey, if you use a photographer other than John, like we're not friends anymore? Or is that too crazy?
No, that's not too crazy. It's
Okay.
sarcastic. I mean, people, it gets.
Oh no, I'm drawing a line in the fucking sand.
You're just gonna
That's what I'm doing.
Friending people.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care. They can unfriend me if they want.
Man. I don't care.
All right, cool, man. Well, dude, I appreciate it. This was awesome. We'll have to do it again sometime.
For sure. Yeah. We need to talk about you guys more next time. I didn't think we were going to be talking all about my crap.
No, we're promoting you. We're promoting you, and we're fucking learning a ton. I learned way more from you than listening to Eric talk about how he's going to kill himself.
You'll understand later in time when you rewatch that.
Okay, sounds good. Right on. Well, thanks for making it happen, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
See ya.
Bye. Okay, guys, and we're back. Yeah, thanks, John. That was awesome. That was a cool guest to have on.
That was cool. I mean, I've known John I'm 28 years old. I've known him for over 20 years. It's really crazy. And I thought it was going to be a struggle coming up with questions. And I came up with a shitload of questions. Well, I didn't get to ask them all, which was fine with me because as it was going, I was like, I don't want to now dip into my stupid questions, but that was good. Learn jiu-jitsu. Even though I don't know it, it's fucking valuable.
Yeah, I wish I was back in Sandpoint because I've been wanting to join a gym for a really long time, and I don't know, I just kind of nervous doing it by myself, going somewhere, and it would be cool to. If I was in Sandpoint after this, I would go right in and be like, at least feel comfortable with who I'm doing it with. But maybe this will be the push I need to go do it. I've thought about either Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or I've also been interested in getting into kickboxing. I think that'd be really fun.
No, and I would be really nervous too. And I've worked out in his gym a bunch when I was actually, being a healthy human being, because he has a section of just like workout equipment. So you can just buy a membership and just do both. So for a
Oh.
while I was just going there and fucking just working out, but it's a great little place to go.
Heck yeah. Boom.
So I kind of have something big. I don't know if we want to, it's I got 4 pages here.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's up to you.
Well, I don't even know what you're.
Well, no. Last episode, I briefly talked about this Murray disappearance.
Okay. What do you think? Do you want to get into it or?
Yeah, we can get into it. It makes me feel like a nut because back in like 2015 or something, I got into this case big time. And the thing about this case is it's sucked in thousands and thousands of people trying to solve it like a Rubik's Cube. It's so insane. And I got into it big time for like a week a couple years ago, and it was fucking with my head. And I was literally like asking other people, like, if you talked to me during that week, I would have like told you about this whole case. It was crazy. But the thing is, it does that to a lot of people. So last weekend after the show, I dipped back into it to revise my notes that I had before and kind of just went down a rabbit hole again. Like I went back down the rabbit hole that I already been down. Like whose footprints are those? Those are my footprints. I've fucking been here before. And it's just so crazy. And look, I went to 3 websites of the most well-known missing persons cases. 3 websites. She was on 2 of the lists. On the first website, on insider.com, she was number 3 on the list of most well-known missing persons cases. She was behind like Amelia Earhart and like DB Cooper or something. I mean, It's really crazy. And it's put together to where it's unsolvable. It's fucking unsolvable. That's the thing. So I don't know. Do you want me to just go into this?
You've already laid out the,
Okay.
laid out groundwork. Let's hear.
Okay. I'm putting my feet up on the chair. Okay. She disappeared on February 9th, 2004. 21 years old, 5'7", 120 pounds. She's a long distance track state champion. Okay. It's important to know that because at the end of this, I'm going to tell you the 4 most famous theories that the thousands of people, armchair detectives, real detectives, FBI, everybody falls, you fall into one of the 4 theories, okay? Unless you're picking like alien abduction, the 4 realistic theories. So long distance track state champion. I'm saying that because that's, it plays into it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about like before the car crash and after the car crash. Okay, before the car crash.
Okay.
She's going to school in Amherst, Massachusetts, long distance track state champion, 21 years old. She sends an email to one of her professors saying she had a death in the family. Okay, this was a lie. She packed her dorm room into boxes and took her posters off the wall. She took $360 out of an ATM, which only left a couple bucks left in her account. I mean, it was probably like 364 in her account or whatever, and you can only go by 20s. So she took $360 out of an ATM. Security footage from the ATM shows that she was alone. She went to the liquor store and bought Kahlua, 6-pack of wine coolers, and a box of wine.
Okay.
Security footage from the liquor store shows that she was alone. Okay. She drove from her school in Amherst, Massachusetts, 135 miles north before she crashed. And this was in February, remember. While she's driving, she calls her dorm landline to check her messages. And this is 2004. She stops once to get gas. That's important to note, too, because it falls into another person's theory. She stops at least once to get gas.
Is there footage?
Okay, that's before. What?
Is there footage of that?
I've never seen any. I'm not sure if there is or not. I think here's what I think. I think there was footage, but the footage doesn't show if anybody was following her. Okay.
Okay.
Not clearly. Okay. The crash. Okay. She's on a curving road. So it's not like it's not like a stop and a turn. It's like a curving road, single two lane road or whatever. And this is kind of like, I mean, if you're from Idaho, like we are, it's kind of like an Idaho road, like a single lane.
Mhm.
You know, you're curving. There's trees everywhere. There's snow everywhere, and this is 7:30 at night, so it's dark out. Okay, so she's on a curving road. She's not on the highway anymore. She crashed her car in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Okay. She's now 135 miles north of where she was going to school. A nearby resident, Faith Westman, heard the crash and called 911. She could see the crash from her window. So on this curving road, it's like, I mean, there's like a red barn. She passes the red barn, she's curving, and then crashes right on the turn. But there's like 3 houses around that area. They're not like, you know, right on the road, but there's 3 houses that are kind of like spread out, but can see the road. So Faith Westman calls 911 as soon as the crash happens. Boom. She could see the crash from her window. She could see the car. After Faith calls, a school bus driver, Butch Atwood, stops at the crash, opens his bus door, and talks to Maura. She begs him not to call 911. She tells him she already called AAA. Okay, that was a lie. She did not call AAA. At 7:48, okay, crash was around 7:27. At 7:48, Butch Atwood's wife calls 911 because he lived like 600 yards east of the crash. After he had talked to Maura, left the scene, backed his school bus into his driveway, and went inside, then he told his wife, hey, call 911. A girl crashed. She's a little freaked out. But, you know, from 7:27 to 7:48, I would guess that it's not that easy to back a school bus into your driveway. I guess he does it every day, but it still probably took him fucking 10 minutes to talk to her, back it in, walk into his house. Okay. So by 7:54, the cop arrived at the crash, probably from that initial call. His report says no Maura at the scene. Windshield was cracked. Both airbags deployed. Car had hit a tree and spun around 180 degrees, facing the wrong way, so facing back from the way she was coming.
Mm-hmm.
The vehicle was locked. She took her wallet and phone and keys. Okay. He could see the box of wine in the back seat, and it had exploded, covering the inside of the car. There was a bottle of like a Coca-Cola bottle that was half full, but it had alcohol in it. And there was a rag stuffed. Yeah, it did.
So she was drinking.
And there was a rag stuffed into the tailpipe, which everyone is always going crazy about, the rag stuffed in the tailpipe. Rag stuffed in the tailpipe. And then back in the day when I'm going crazy, I actually asked my mechanic when he was working on my car, I'm like, why would somebody stuff a rag in the tailpipe of their car? And I don't remember what he said, but there was a rag stuffed in the tailpipe. Okay, so after the crash, you know, the next day, a police dog tracked her scent using one of her gloves. The dog tracked it 100 yards down the road, in the middle of the road, then the trail stopped. Missing person cases are usually handled by local and state police, but within 10 days, the FBI had got involved, and they also announced the search was now nationwide. New Hampshire Fish and Game conducted a ground search using tracking dogs and cadaver dogs, and an air search using helicopters and thermal imaging cameras. Because this is a mountainous area. But I mean, thermal imaging cameras from a helicopter to me seems like foolproof.
Yeah.
Her case has been cited as the first mystery crime of the social media age. Because some fun fact, Facebook was created like 5 days after this accident, but there was no YouTube, there's no Twitter. And I mean, it's crazy how this case became like, just so many people obsess over it. So the 4 main theories would be abducted and killed, ended her own life, started a new life in Canada. Everyone says she went to Canada. If she was going to start a new life, she went to Canada, or wandered into the woods and died. It was snowing that night, below freezing temps. And so back to the timing thing, I mean, you're talking about like 20 minutes from the crash to the cops showing up. But in that time, the bus driver stopped and talked to her. So you got to take like 5 minutes off of that. So you're talking about 15 minutes basically. And my timing's not down to the fucking minute, but like a 15-minute period where someone literally vanished off the face of the planet, and no credible sighting ever since. No use of the phone, of an ID anywhere, anything like that. And it is so fucking insane how nobody has figured it out.
Well, okay, right. I don't know if you're gonna keep going here, but fucking
No, I'm not.
first thing I think is you can scratch out, unless, I mean, I give it in the single digits possibility that she goes into the woods. Why would you go into the woods? That doesn't
Well,
make
people
any...
say she might have hit her head when she crashed and just started walking.
So that's what I'm saying. I'll give it some percentage that she's like concussed and doesn't know what she's doing and just like banana. But I don't believe that either. I've been around a few people that are concussed, and even though they're like don't really know what's happening to them, you're not like you're not dumb. If you're on a road and it's snowing, you're not just gonna start zombieing out into the woods. You know what I mean? You're gonna stay, especially in the snow. You're gonna stay on the road. Like she
Or
stayed on
like,
there's no way
yeah.
she didn't stay on the road. The rag in the tailpipe, it seems like you're irritated with that. That is super weird. Like that is bananas weird. And the only, you're saying you don't, that's a thing. You know what I mean? Sticking like a banana up someone's tailpipe or an orange or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's going to kill the car. Is it not? Like, isn't that what's going to happen? Like the exhaust isn't escaping anymore, and it's going to, back up. It's not, you're going to kill the motor.
Well, there's people that say like, I used to drive this old shit box or whatever, and I always had to keep a rag in the tailpipe in order to like keep it running. And I'm just going off like YouTube commenters saying shit like that. And people about stopping at the gas station, they're like, that's when a killer saw her and like put the rag there and then followed her and waited. Yeah. And then she crashed, and then they saw the bus driver, and then after that they moved in.
So I give that a good thought. That's probably what happened. If she made it down the road, they tracked it, and then she just disappears off the road, just vanishes. So he goes, parks the bus, then the person continues, you know what I mean? And then picks her up.
But she locked her car and took her shit?
She took her purse, her keys, and her phone?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. And locked it. Which if I'm locking it, that means I'm planning on coming back to it. Right.
Well, no. So she does that. She locks the car, and then she goes walking, and then the guy comes up and picks her up on the road.
And she gets into his car?
He might force her into the car. Either he talks her into getting in the car, or he forces her into the car. Now I haven't seen pictures of this, but now I kind of want to see pictures of like the road and the house.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. This is what happens to everybody.
where the bus is, where this guy is, he's lost visuals of where the crash is.
Yeah. It's like 600 yards down the road where his house is.
What about the lady? You said that, didn't you say there's another lady that could see the accident?
Yeah, there was 2 other people that saw the accident. One guy said, looking out of his window, said that he looked out, he saw Maura standing next to her car. Then he went back into his house. The next time he looked out, the cops were there. And that one lady called 911 immediately as the crash happened, and she's looking out of her house and she could see the car there. But nobody saw somebody else fucking take this girl away.
Through your research, has anyone said like traffic on this road? Was there just zero, or did cars drive by during this? Or
that's a good question. When I was trying to describe the road, it's like it's almost like if there was traffic, it'd be like the neighbors of the road, like local traffic, but not a lot of traffic. And nobody knows why the fuck she was going up there. Like, why would she pack her dorm? Why would she lie about a death in the family, buy all that alcohol, clean out her bank account, and go up there and not tell anybody about it? So people are like, where was she going? Why was she driving up there? It's fucking weird.
That is very weird. So you said last week that there was a theory about a boyfriend or something like that, an ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, or she had a current boyfriend, but he was like out of state at the time. He was like in Texas or something. And I mean, I don't know why she would have been going up there. And then, and then there's one writer, a guy named James Renner, who was like the first guy to dive into this case. He wrote a book about it. He wrote a book, and in the end of the book, his theory is that she had her boyfriend was abusive. She found out she was pregnant, and she staged this whole thing to run away to Canada, and she's living in Quebec, and like, just to protect the kid. And that was his theory, and that's just a real crazy fucking theory because he doesn't have anything to base it off of, really. I mean, he might have stuff to base it off of, but never been like a sighting. There's never been a
Well,
sighting of this girl.
and nowadays, I mean, dude, you can only do so much without a social security number. Like, what do you
Right.
mean? You don't get to just go live anonymously anymore in the world. Like,
Right.
without a structure of, okay, I've seen this firsthand, people that are able to, but they're not like running away from an identity. But here in
Right.
Portland, with the Mexican scene, is that actually happens a lot with Mexicans, is illegals come over, like, and what they'll do is they'll all use one social security number, and they'll all work under the same social security number. Like, so you'll get a family of Mexicans or 10 Mexican dudes, and they'll just put one social security number for 10 Mexicans, and just like, that's how
Yeah.
they do it. But it's
Right.
like, there, if there's any real digging into it, you're going to figure out, you know what I mean? Like, if the IRS went into you'd figure it out. You know what I mean? There's so many people doing it that they just don't really care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
And for
but
16 years,
you don't get to go. But, if, let's say they wanted to find a certain like Mexican doing this, they're going to find him. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to figure it out. There's only so much in this day and age. You can't just hide. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, unless she's living in a cave in Quebec and hasn't talked to anybody in 20 years. Like, that's the only possibility. How are you going to rent an apartment?
Yeah.
There's how are you going to do any of that?
Yeah. And it's like there was a documentary TV series on like the ID channel or something that dove into this. And at the end of the documentary series, their theory was abducted by a killer. So we have one writer with the book who his theory is ran away, staged this whole thing. Then the documentary series is abducted by a killer. And the podcast, Missing Maura Murray podcast, is amazing. And that really fucking really ramps up your investigation. But you have to start at episode 1. Don't start at like their last episode 1. And
yeah,
you got to think. I would bet $1 million against she crashed her car. She's standing next to it, and a serial killer drives by and grabs her. There's no chance, because you're talking about like a 15-minute window, and you're talking about an individual who has to be capable of like abduction and murder in the same thing. Like, no way, not happening.
Well, but what do you mean? What if he picks her at the gas station?
Well, that would be almost more likely, I guess, just because there's more people.
But
That's
then
crazy.
now I want to know if she stopped at a gas station, but she could have stopped somewhere else and you don't even know she stopped. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like,
yep.
But I want to see the footage of her stopping at the gas station, because either there is no footage of it, they didn't have security cameras, but if, the theory in my mind, there would be a theory to where that's where someone saw her and stuffed something in her tailpipe,
Yeah.
Either something she didn't drive the 120 some miles with something stuffed in her tailpipe. She stopped and it got put in, or she put it in, which that wouldn't make any sense. Why would she go put a rag in her tailpipe?
Right.
I don't know.
The rag in the tailpipe. Everyone's always rag in the tailpipe. And that didn't get found until after the car was impounded, because the car got impounded that night. It got towed.
So the control isn't even that good of there's too much time there. If you're saying that they didn't find that till the next day, now there's too much time you know what I mean? Someone could have done that in transportation. Like,
Yeah. So I guess you couldn't say for 100% fact the rag was there when the crash happened, but most likely it was,
wait a
unless a tow truck driver put it in, which that doesn't make any sense
wait
either.
a second. How do they not have that figured out? Like, if
The
there's a
cop
car
didn't see it when he pulled up to the trash.
before they im- towed the car away, don't they take pictures? Like, it's like a crime scene at that point, is it not?
No, the pictures of the car, there's pictures of her crashed car, and it's in the impound lot.
How did they not take pictures of the car in the crash? Like,
I don't know. It's in the middle. It's fucking dark out.
just some backwoods cop, like, not caring and just
And
doesn't think it's a
yeah,
big
and
deal.
I think, like, say if there's a missing persons report put out on somebody, I'm like, I don't just automatically go to, we're never gonna fucking see this person again. I feel like it's only gonna be like a day or two, and then they're gonna turn up, right?
Yeah, I mean, there was just a big one here in Portland a few months ago, and yeah, at the beginning it was like, oh, she'll show up in a day, and then it's yeah, and with most things like that, yeah, it's every day it just starts changing. You know what I mean? At first, you're like,
Yeah,
oh, they just ran away from home. You know what I mean? They're
right,
hanging out at a boyfriend's house. You know, blah
right.
blah. Give it a few weeks, this will all be over with, and then as time goes on, like, oh shit, they're probably dead. You know what I mean? Like,
It's such a weird case, and it's like if I had like if a genie gave me like I don't know 10 or 20 like uses of a time machine, it'd be real interesting to go back and just like be hiding in the bushes and see what happens.
what if it was you that stuffed it in the tailpipe? You
Right.
know what I mean?
Oh God,
Fucking
no,
with time. It's Brad. He was the one that did it this whole time.
dude. Seriously, that's like what it is. Someone went back in time and did something, and now we'll never have an answer. It's so fucking weird. It's
Yeah.
so weird how because the thing about the case is like whenever you develop your theory, you start fleshing it out kind of, and then you hit a roadblock that's like, oh, okay, I guess it can't be that. Then you're like, wait, what if? And then it's like, nope. And then it's like, oh, okay, every time you start to progress with it, it's like, no, it didn't. You're
That's
wrong.
irritating. I don't think I can get into this. I think when we get it, I got to just let this go because I am
Yeah,
not good with not having closure to things. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not good with
dude.
that. But it already bugs me. It's already bugging me. And the fact that you'll never know. We'll never know. You know,
Yeah.
it irritates me. There's something
And I
about
feel
that.
bad. I feel bad for the family because there's a lot of interviews with the dad and stuff, and a lot of people like the armchair detectives online, which I'm wondering if that fucking phrase came from this case. But a lot of them are like, it was her dad, like he's a fucking alcoholic piece of shit or whatever. But you see interviews with the guy, and you're just like, holy shit, dude, he misses his daughter so much. It is so that's talk about not having closure. But the real problem was just diving into that podcast because you're going like episode by episode and they break it down hardcore. And then your mind starts thinking like, that's when you start thinking for yourself kind of and fucking taking notes down like a fucking madman.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's good
Yeah,
though. I like it.
I don't know if I could listen to that podcast because it's already like irritating me. I don't like it.
Maybe you'll be the one that figures it out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Dude, this I don't know if you want to keep talking about this, but halfway through this, I don't know why this reminds me of it, but like 2 houses ago here in Portland, 2 houses I lived at ago, in Beaverton, I lived in this like kind of Mexican neighborhood. It's called Marlene Village in Beaverton, and it's like it's like this. It's hard to explain. All these houses are like cookie cutter houses, but they were built in the like 40s. They're like this. It's this area. One guy owns like 100 houses, and then everyone rents. You know what I mean? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Newmark, I think, is like the company the guy goes under, and he's just kind of slumlording this whole place. So it's kind of the
Right.
ghetto, and a lot of Mexicans live there. Like it's probably 80% Mexicans in the neighborhood. I loved it because no one called the cops. It was like such a fun place to live. I loved the neighborhood. Uh,
I don't like that.
anyways, so 3 houses up the street from mine. When I almost rented the house. It was up for rent. So the
God.
story is so this lady like 10 years ago or 12 years ago lived in this house, and she was pregnant, like 7 months, 8 months, like very pregnant.
Wait,
And
how long ago? Sorry.
like 12 years ago,
Okay. Yeah.
years ago or something like that.
Okay.
This lady, okay, I got to remember exactly how this went down. This lady post something is posted on Craigslist about a baby, like a crib or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly who posted it, but so what happens is something gets posted online. I can't remember which party posted it and which party responded, but then so this lady's by herself at this house, pregnant. It's her house, and then this, or no, not the pregnant lady. A pregnant lady comes to this house. Okay, that's how it goes. There's a lady that
Jesus.
posts. Sorry, I got it now.
Who's pregnant?
Okay. There's a lady that lives at this house. She's like an
Okay.
overweight lady. She is not pregnant. She's a weird lady. She
Okay.
posts this Craigslist ad selling a crib or like a
Okay.
newborn clothes or something like that. And then this pregnant lady meets her at her house to pick up the crib. She
Okay.
drives to the house by herself. So now there's just two people in this house. There's this
Oh
fat,
God.
overweight lady, and then there's this pregnant lady that shows up to get it. The lady
Okay.
kills the pregnant lady, opens the stomach up, takes the
Oh,
baby
dude.
out, stuffs the lady under her house, and then calls the cops and says, I just had a baby. And then so the police show up and the ambulance, they take her to the hospital. And then when they're at the hospital, they're like, this lady did not just have a kid. Like, then they go to like, the kid dies, obviously. Like, and then they, start inspecting her vagina, I'm assuming, because I'm assuming they have to like, they're like, okay, we got to, I don't know, do something. And they're like, this lady did not just give birth. Like, this is impossible. You know what I
Oh
mean?
my God. Yeah.
And then they go back to the house and then find this girl stuffed underneath the house that with her stomach cut open. And
Oh.
then so supposedly what had happened is the fat weird lady had been lying to her boyfriend to keep him in the picture that she was pregnant. And so she had
Oh
this
my
lie
God.
going for like 8 months saying she was pregnant, and then she wasn't pregnant the whole time. So she needed to, she wanted this lie to keep going to keep her boyfriend. And like,
Sure.
so the boyfriend comes home, he gets a call from the police. Like he comes home and is like, oh my God, my wife just had her kid. The kid died, and he's all bummed out. And then the next day come to find out she gets arrested, and like that wasn't her kid. Then they find the body of this lady underneath his house. And like, yeah, I suppose like he was going to break up with her, but that didn't, because she said that she had a kid. And so he keeps this relationship going. Isn't that bananas? It was
Dude.
3 houses down from my house. It was so weird to drive by the house every day, like just look at it, like, and everyone in the neighborhood called it the murder house. Like that's where the murder house happened.
Dude, because I think there's a law in California. If anyone's gonna rent that or buy that house, they need to be told about that.
It's like right now, when I moved into the neighborhood, it was getting all like remodeled. Um, but it's still super ghetto. All the houses are ghetto, and it's a
That is fucked
Mexican
up.
family that lives there, and I really don't think they tell them that any of that stuff happened. Like,
Yeah, because I think in California, it's a law that you have to disclose that information. It should
yeah,
be a law everywhere.
I wonder if they knew. But originally, I was like, when moving into the neighborhood, I heard the story like right before we moved into the neighborhood, and we were trying to get into. I wanted to live in the neighborhood. I learned about the neighborhood, and then I was like, I'm moving to that neighborhood. And then so I was trying any way I could get into the neighborhood. And the Newmark, this rental company, they owned
Mm-hmm.
all these houses. I ended up actually moving into a house that was privately owned. There's like this stretch right in Marlene Village. There's like 10, 15 people that actually own their own houses, and then the rest are Newmark right across the street from you. Um,
Right.
but we were looking into getting into that house, and I was with a buddy, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. I was like, I'm not superstitious. I don't believe in ghosts or spirits or anything. I was like, if it's all cleaned up and done, I don't really care if someone was murdered in the house. I've actually
Mm-hmm.
lived in a house where someone was murdered before, so I know that it doesn't bug me. Sorry, that's that's
Until you fucking hear in the middle of the night. Wah, wah. Dude, no. People always say that, oh, I could live in that house where fucking 10 people were stabbed to death. I could fucking live there. Me? Fuck that. You're going to be walking around in the middle of the night, and then it's all going to come back, and you're going to remember what happened there, and you're going to be like, oh, shit. I'm not doing it. I want to live in a house where nobody has died before. Is that too much to ask? Jesus Christ. Even though I've probably lived in a house where people have been killed. Who knows?
Or
You got to think.
Or something like that.
You got to think, like, everywhere you walk, someone's probably been killed before.
Oh, all over the place. Someone's died,
right.
you know. And the older the place you're in, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. How much longer do you want to go? I still got a full page of shit, but we can wrap it up. We've gone through murder mysteries and baby stabbing stories.
How much time do you think we're at?
Dude, I don't know. We took such a long break after the guest. I don't know where we're at right now.
Okay. Well, we can wrap it, or you can just rapid fire through a couple things. I don't know.
Let's rapid fire through a few things. I've been hearing a lot on the Joe Rogan or Tom Segura side and all those guys bring this up a bunch, and I haven't watched it yet. Have you watched that MJ documentary?
No, I refuse to watch it. Oh, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I haven't watched it, but I keep hearing really good things.
So, you know, I'm not into. You're into basketball. You know, basketball? No, is that not your thing?
I watch the finals every year.
But so you probably know a lot about basketball than I do.
Yeah, I'm no expert, but every year I watch the best of 7, the finals, to see who wins it all.
So what's your argument, Michael Jordan versus LeBron? Who's a better basketball player in your opinion?
I mean, I think if either one of us watches that documentary, it won't even be close. Like, even hearing Tony Hinchcliffe talk on Joe Rogan, I saw a clip of that, and it was like, he is like the ultimate competitor in the history of the world. He is like so competitive, it's fucking insane. LeBron is great. I mean, LeBron is a fucking freak athlete, and LeBron could have been successful in like any sport. I mean, well, like football, basketball, whatever, UFC, something like that. Because he is a giant beast of a human being. But Michael Jordan is just like, he's amazing. I don't know.
Do you give any credit? So I've had this argument years ago with a buddy of mine, and he was pissed when I thought LeBron was better. But first thing first, I don't fucking know shit about basketball. I don't pay any attention to it. So, you know, I'm not the one to have a real stance on this. But my argument is do you not think that NBA is harder now? Like, teams are better? Like, all in general? Like, wouldn't over a 20-year period just the athleticism and the focus on it, like, aren't the players, you know, the Bulls are the Bulls, but do you think, like, when they play the Lakers or, you know, back in 94, 95, 96, when they're playing the Lakers, the Raptors, Milwaukee, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Are those teams the same caliber as they are now? Are the Lakers, you know, now you got Kobe Bryant, you got you know, you have all these other players that he's playing against. Aren't they better players than there was 20 years ago? And then that argument would also go for the same when people bring up what's the other guy people always bring into the argument? You know, the older basketball player. I can't remember his name, but he keeps on getting thrown in. What? Yeah,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, well, he's the best basketball player of all time. But then my argument would be, well, you know, as time progresses,
see, I don't know if the players are better now or if it's just a completely different game. It's like there's so many fouls now, it's insane. There's a foul every fucking 10 seconds because you just can't touch anybody. And back then you could just fucking boom, just like level people and just fucking smack people in the face and stuff. Like,
you're saying in the mid 90s?
Yeah, it was you had to be way tougher than now. Now it's just like, you know, if you kind of walk by me a little bit and I'm just like, and like fall to the ground, then it's like, foul. You know, it's like a lot softer game. But now you have people that are just like fucking shooting from half court and just sinking them like pew, pew, like snipers out there.
With that, just a little side argument there, with you saying it was more physical back then. Do you think Stephen Curry would just get fucked a lot more now? Like the fact that he's a small guy and people would just
back then.
Yeah, back then. Like if you took him in a time machine, threw him in the mid-90s, he wouldn't get the same stats because people would just be like fucking with him, not giving him the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they would fuck him up. They would beat him up big time. I mean, he can still shoot from way far away, but like nobody was doing that back then. I don't know. Like LeBron probably would have been fine back then. He couldn't play the same game he's playing now because it's a completely different game. He would have to change his whole fucking game.
Well, and then isn't there another argument? So I don't know much about basketball, but LeBron can play any position, right? Like he can play guard, point guard, whatever. Like, could Michael Jordan do the same thing? Isn't Michael Jordan a little bit smaller than LeBron?
Yeah, he is smaller. Yeah.
So,
and I mean, people
there. Like Michael Jordan couldn't go play guard or whatever. You know, the guy standing next to the hoop, you know, blocking it. Like he's not tall.
The center. Yeah,
the center. Like whereas LeBron he can go stand up there and you know.
But could LeBron play center against centers from back then?
You're saying
probably not.
What do you mean? Because they're more they could, you know, Shaq can be pushing you and shit like that.
Right. It's like everybody nowadays, it's kind of become a smaller. The body sizes have all been kind of smaller. You don't have like a giant fucking human being out there because you need
giant fucking human being.
LeBron, yeah, but I guess. Look, and one big argument people use is I think every finals that Michael Jordan went to, he won, and LeBron hasn't won all of them. He's lost a bunch of them.
Lost 6 of them, right?
No, I don't think he's lost. Well, maybe, I don't know, because he's gone every year. He's gone every year for like 10 years. Or something.
Saw a post the other day where it's like LeBron's lost 1, no, 2. No, 3, and they just kept going. No, 4, no, 5, and they're like lost 6 finals, you know, or whatever.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because he went like 12 years in a row or something crazy, but
Michael Jordan's backed by a way better team, right? Like the Bulls, the 96 Bulls or whatever were like, I
guess,
just an all-star team. Right.
I think I need to. Yeah, I think if the documentary gets watched, I think it would be a clear decision. But it's also like an 8 fucking episode thing, you know.
And it's produced by Michael Jordan, so it's a little biased. You can't make a fucking documentary about yourself. Like that's not fair. Like,
yeah, but you kind of need him to make it.
No, I mean it's cool, and I guess I haven't seen it, but I guess like the cameos of him, it's really cool because he just like opens up about all kinds of shit, and you know, a lot of the documentary is just him talking. But you know, of course, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm the best motherfucker there is. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's let LeBron make his own fucking documentary. You know what I mean? Like,
make it. I mean, I'm not a giant LeBron fan. I like watching him play, and you have to watch him play. I mean, he's just fucking dominating, but also a lot of times, you know, they just foul him. I don't know.
Okay, but back to my argument a second ago. You can't compare the 96 Bulls or whatever to Cleveland, Miami Heat, Lakers. Like these teams LeBron's playing on aren't as good. Do not have the same amount of talent on their team as the Bulls did. Like, right? Who were all the players on the Bulls back then? Wasn't it Pippen or
Rodman,
Shaq,
Steve Kerr, I guess.
Like, isn't it just like insane? Like, just it's not even fair. Like, they're just everyone on the team is just fucking everybody up. They're incredible. Right? So,
yeah, but I hate that argument. Like they always say, like Tom Brady, oh yeah, but he had the greatest coach of all time coaching him. It's like you put another quarterback in there and he'd have the same amount of Super Bowls. It's like, yeah, but there's not another quarterback in there. The players that are there are the players that are there. This is what we have to base the assessment off of. It's not like, oh, if I was on the 94 Bulls or whatever, then I would have a ring too. It's like, yeah, but I wasn't. He was there. Like that's what we have to base it off of.
I'm saying you got to take into account that his team at least accounted for 30% of how fucking good he did. Like, you know, when you're
Yeah.
surrounded by the best of the best of the best, of course you're going to look better because they are
Right.
setting you up with shots that if a shitty team wouldn't be setting you up with. Well, LeBron is taking, in my opinion, I don't know, I'm not a basketball guy, but he's taking teams that shouldn't be finals worthy and
Yes.
taking them to the finals.
I
Like,
don't. It wasn't that the finals that he beat that he won in Cleveland. I don't think it was that year. I think it was the following year or something like that. There was one year when he went with a team and literally he was carrying them all on his back, and it was crazy to watch because everybody out there fucking sucked. And it's not, if anyone listening that knows about anything, it's not the year when he had Kyrie. It's the year when he didn't have Kyrie. Everybody fucking sucked big time on that team, and
so
he just
that's what
carried.
I'm saying. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Is that not like notable versus Jordan? Jordan didn't have some shit team behind him that he was just, you know,
But
carrying the whole fucking thing.
But if he did, could he have done that?
Did he? Like, so I don't
Maybe.
know the history. How did Jordan start? Did he start on the Bulls or did
I
he
don't
play
know.
for other teams?
I don't know. But he played for like the Washington Wizards or whatever, towards the end of his career. I don't know. I don't know too much about the history. I remember being at my grandpa's house once and people were watching basketball and Michael Jordan was playing. And I wasn't watching, but I know that Michael Jordan was playing. And I was probably like 6 years old.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Space Jam coming out.
You what?
I just remember Space Jam coming out, like, and
Yeah, I
Michael
remember
Jordan
that too.
fucking
Yeah.
huge.
I think the documentary needs to be watched because from what I'm hearing, after you watch it, there's no debate. But who knows?
But he fucking made it himself. Like, of course. Like, if Tom Brady makes a documentary about himself, he's gonna be on the best. If Brett Favre made a documentary about himself, he's gonna be like, "I'm the best motherfucker alive." Like, you know.
Yeah, I know. And Brett Favre is great too. But I'm rolling with Michael Jordan. But that's
Yeah,
just me.
I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really give a shit either way. I don't watch basketball. I know that they're the two best, right? Like, everyone will agree that it's pretty
And
much them.
Kobe. Yeah, and Kobe.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I'd have to go back and watch some games, and it'd be real fucking interesting to watch now that I've just watched a bunch of new age basketball. To go back and watch a game of that would be a really cool thing to do. But I mean, you just if the majority of the crowd is, when you're asking the debate, bringing the debate up, and the majority of the crowd is saying one name, they're saying it for a reason. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just figured we'd talk about that. I don't.
Okay.
Uh,
Right.
did you know this
Email
is
us.
yeah? Email us what you think. If you think I'm a
Yeah.
piece of shit, then
Also,
let's
email me about your fucking Maura Murray theories so I can shoot them down.
boom.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw one in real quick. This is
Okay.
I don't know why at about 3 a.m. last night, this morning, I fucking was just looking up weird shit online. Did you know that the average person farts 14 times a day? So that means in 81 years, you fart 517,387 times in your life. But
Wow.
that's what Google said off the bat. But then I did the math and I did 81, I did 14 times 365 times 81. And it actually came out to 413,910. I didn't understand why Google fucked the math up there. But
So
either way,
you're missing 100,000
yeah, 100,000 less than they're fucking giving you more farts than the
over
original.
80 years.
81 years, 14 times a day. The math on that works out to 413,910. That's if you
Hmm.
do. So, is that not crazy? You fart 500,000 times in your life. Does that seem low or does that seem high?
That seems accurate.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
know.
that's a lot, dude. That's I if someone would have asked me, hey, guess how many times someone farts in 80 years, I wouldn't probably have been way under that number actually.
Yeah, I probably would have said 100,000, I think, is the number I would
Yeah.
have got. 100,000.
Yeah, that's craziness.
I know that's real dumb. Are you trying to get out of here? Because
No.
I mean, no.
No.
So I got, I don't know. I kind of want to stick with this story time thing. I don't know if you hate the story time.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have an Ask Reddit question for this week. No, I don't hate story time. It's interesting. And now, hopefully, this audio that we have, this episode is the best we've ever had. So, no, go for it. Last time you told the story, it sparked 2 stories for me. It sparked the driving to Portland in 24 hours and something else.
So 2 years.
Is this the rape?
No, I'm not gonna do that. I don't.
Okay, sorry.
We'll see how that goes.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So this one, I gave a guy a heart attack. That's how this works out. So 2 years ago, I'm working in Vancouver, Washington, which is right across the river from Portland in Washington. So you have to cross. Have you crossed the 405 bridge? I don't know. You wouldn't have. If you came in through 84, you would have already been on the Columbia, this side of the Columbia. And so you would have just drove right into Portland. But if you're going to Washington from Portland, you have to cross the 405 bridge, which is
Right.
big bridge in Portland. It's the traffic going one way is the top level and the traffic going the other way is the bottom level. It's a big bridge.
Okay.
So I'm coming from Vancouver in rush hour traffic, coming home to Beaverton. So I'm crossing the 405 bridge, heading southbound. And at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, it is pretty much dead stop across the bridge. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
It takes to go the 2 miles from, or the 5 miles from the start of the Columbia to get through Portland takes you over a half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour to get.
Well, because some people live in Washington and work in Portland.
It's actually worse the other way. Most people live in I don't know what you just said, but most people
live in Washington
and commute into Portland because it's cheaper to live in Washington than it is Portland. But there is still a lot of people going the other way too. It's faster to go southbound than it is northbound, but it still is bumper to bumper each way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm coming over the bridge. Dad's just putting along, 2 miles an hour, just putting over the bridge, coming off the bridge now, get down. And so when you do the drive into Portland, when you come off the 405 bridge, you kind of like it's sunk into the city. Like you're not in a tunnel, but you're like 20 feet dug into the ground. When you come off the bridge, it just dips down, and then there's bridges, there's cross streets above you, like Burnside, Morrison, blah, blah, blah. They're above you, but it's not like a big bridge. You're just like underground a little bit. So I'm down in that part and still in bumper to bumper traffic, just coming down into it. And so I'm driving. It's middle of summer, windows all down. I have music playing. It's hot. I'm, blah, 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 just putting along. Someone fucking rear ends me in bumper to bumper traffic. I'm like, what, dude? I just bought in my truck, and anybody that knows me now with my truck, I'm a fucking freak about my truck. I'm relaxing a little bit, but the first few years I had that truck, I babied that truck. Like, I mean, I washed it all the time, waxed it all the time. It was always in mint condition. So this guy fucking rear ends me. It's the first accident, any nick I'd done on this car. I am furious. I'm so fucking mad. And I just got off work. So I'm already like, I'm pumped up, like I'm already like ready, more confident than I should be. You know what I mean? So this guy hits me. I'm looking in my rearview, or I'm looking in my side mirror, looking at the guy, and he's looking at me, and I freak the fuck out. I am screaming at the top of my lungs, like, you fucking piece of shit. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I'm so mad. I'm just like, what the fuck? How do you run into me in bumper to bumper traffic? Like, you piece of shit. And I'm screaming at this guy, and he's just staring at me. And just, we're having like, through the mirror. I'm looking at him. All my windows are down so he can hear me. Now everyone around, a lot of people have their windows down. They're like, what the fuck? Because I am screaming at the top of my lungs. You fucking piece of shit. Blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I'm looking at the guy in the mirror. I pull over to the side of the road. There's like this berm, like a 10-foot, 15-foot, like 45-degree angle of like grass up the side. I pull over to the side of the road. Now there's like a big gap in between me and the car in front of me because I've like stopped on the road screaming at the guy. And so the traffic has kept like moving along. So now there's like 5-6 car lengths between me and the car in front of me. So now I pull off to the side and the guy just starts creeping by me. And I'm like, I'm really pissed. I'm like, you motherfucker, pull the fuck over, dude. Like, fuck you. And then the second he gets right by me, and he's like looking at me. And then the second he gets right by me, fucking floors it. Like, just almost screeching tires. Like, floors it. And just, I'm like, what the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Slams into the car in front of me. Like, so hard that he's in like a Nissan truck, like the ones that are really popular. They're everywhere. They're the cheap Nissan. Most of them are gray, silver. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he like a 2012 or whatever. You know, the one, they're everywhere. He's in that. The car in front of me is in this like little Toyota Camry. When he hits the Camry, the fucking back tires of the car lift up off the ground like a foot. That's how hard he slammed into this car in fucking dead stop traffic. He hits the car. It lunges like 5 feet forward, kind of moves it a little bit at an angle, like a 10-degree like bump, hits it again, and then like screeches off the back of the bumper and just takes off. And now he's on like the side of the road up on this grassy knoll, like 45-degree angle thing. And he just takes the fuck off. Then bounces off a car, like 10 cars ahead of that, like comes down, hits a car, goes back up on the grass, then hits another car. So now he hit 5 cars while I'm watching him. And then he just cruises out of, you can't even see him anymore. He's gone. Like he leaves my visuals. I can't fucking see the guy anymore. I call the cops. Yeah. Now there's all these cars pulled off to the side of the road. He's just hit all these fucking cars. Call the cops. That was a whole ordeal because I was trying to explain to them where I'm at and the fucking, yeah, anyways. Fire truck shows up, blah, blah, blah. As we're all fucking on the side of the road, the other side of the freeway is like moving fast. Like it's cleared up on their side and they're blazing. They're doing 60 miles an hour. Well, they're all rubbernecking. So now 3 more cars on the other side of the freeway getting a wreck, like a bad wreck on that side from rubbernecking. Like they're not paying attention to what they're doing. Fucking a big crash happens over there. There's fucking cars just everywhere. Dude, it felt like a zombie apocalypse was happening. I'm like downtown, like, what the fuck is happening? Just cars, just fucking all this shit. Everyone's standing on the side of the freeway looking at each other. You know, fire trucks are all coming through. Everyone passing me is filming me. You know what I mean? All these cars that are passing me are like filming what's going on because they're all like, what the fuck is happening? Why are all these cars crashed all over the place?
Yeah.
In bumper to bumper traffic. Like, how does this happen? Fucking. So yeah, come to find out after there for an hour, fucking the cops are like, oh, the guy had a heart attack. Like, so the guy behind me is having a fucking heart attack and then just pins it to the ground and fucking takes off. That day, the first 2 days, I was convinced I gave the guy a heart attack. Like, I think he hit me and he was staring at me. And then dude, I lost my mind. Like, I was ready to kill the guy. Like, I was screaming at him. So he like, obviously he probably was like 99% of like possibility is that he was having the heart attack when he bumped into me. But then even that, like, then I went through all kinds of different emotions about it. Then I felt really bad. If the guy
did he die?
I don't know. So, but if the guy was having a heart attack, imagine his last like memories of having the heart attack is me just screaming at him, just like, you fucking piece of shit, and he's just it's like, I was like, if he did die that day, I put him through the worst fucking minute of it. You know, the last minute of his life is me just screaming at him, and then a massive car wreck. You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad for the guy. But what had happened is then, like, so that's pretty much the whole story. But then what had happened is everyone files their insurance claim, and I'm like, over a few month period, I'm like trying to get my car taken care of. It was just I had the least amount of damage. He just fucked up my bumper because he barely hit me. He fucked up everyone else way harder than he hit me.
Yeah.
I'm
He had
trying to
some
get
room to fucking speed up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And but I'm calling the insurance company, and it took months and months and months to get any of it dealt with because he
Oh,
wasn't because when an insurance claim happens, every person on the claim has to report damages before they'll start paying out damages. So
right.
so it took all 5 people had to fucking claim their shit. The city had to claim their insurance claim because he ran into where he ended up stopping. He fucked up some concrete because he ended up hitting a wall or a Jersey barrier and cracked a Jersey barrier. So then the city had to put their estimate for replacing the Jersey barrier. So the guy
Oh,
and then what had happened? It had passed his deductible or his liability. Was whatever. Usually it's 50,000 or something like that. Well, he went way over the 50,000 in 5 cars and fucking up a city thing. But they wouldn't pay it forever because he wouldn't claim his shit. So he might have died in the hospital. But from I don't know any of that, but talking to the insurance adjuster, they're like, this guy hasn't done anything. He's not responding to any claim that we keep trying to get a hold of him, blah, 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 blah. So he might have died. I don't know. But it was weird. I was
dude, I'm
convinced.
wondering if somewhere in the dark web of YouTube, there's footage of that.
I don't know. I'm sure. I mean, at least probably on someone's Instagram story or something like that.
How many years ago was this? 2, 3?
2 years ago. 2 years ago, it would have been July or August, maybe early September.
It'd be amazing if I could fucking find, like, because you said everyone was driving past you filming you. It'd be
Yeah.
amazing if I could
I mean,
find
someone's got it somewhere. It is fucking somewhere, either on Instagram, a Facebook thing, or just saved on someone's phone.
that. Right. Dude,
Yeah, so
that's craziness.
that's my story. For a while, I was convinced that I gave the guy a heart attack. I was like, no, I like you. If you were there and saw me screaming at this dude, like I was freaking the fuck out. Like,
Yeah, I think you gave him a heart attack for sure. That's
boom.
craziness. I've never been involved in an accident. I've never even seen one.
I've been in a few. I've fallen asleep at the wheel. Fucking.
Oh God.
That sucked balls. That was the worst experience of my life. Yeah, if you're ever tired, fucking pull over because falling asleep at the wheel and crashing is god awful. It was the worst thing I've ever done.
Dude, that's craziness.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking story time.
Secret story time. I'm gonna try to keep it going until we run out of good stories. We'll see how long it takes.
Yeah, I'll have to jump into. I'll have to think of some stories of mine. That was. I'm so glad I asked John about that to finally fucking clarify my weird memory of him telling me that. I'm glad we got that cleared up today.
What's weird is I do not remember. Like, I don't remember taking anybody to school, except that one memory I have of getting pulled over. I do remember someone being in the car with me when the fucking police pulled over.
Yeah, that's so crazy. And I couldn't have told you if it was like a regular thing or if it was because I thought it was just like a one-time thing. Like, oh, that guy Eric Beavers drove me to school. He was listening to Incubus. And I'm like, God, that must have been like 06 or something. And for some reason, I just always remembered that. But I always thought it was just like a one-off thing. I don't even know. It's so fucking weird.
Huh. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe I can't remember it. I wish I had a better memory.
That's awesome. Okay, you want to wrap it?
Let's wrap this bitch up. Boom, guys. It was a good episode, I think. I don't know how long we went. This might be this might take the cake as the longest now. It might be.
Oh God. Yeah, I can't tell. I feel like it was a little scattered at the beginning, but then it all fucking, worked itself out.
Yep.
It was good.
It was good.
Episode 6 of the show, erickandbradshaw@gmail.com. Email me about anything more Murray or any of this MJ LeBron thing. I'm no expert, but I'm curious what people think.
Yep. Boom. Yeah, you know, if you got any stories about giving people heart attacks, you can throw that at us. Anything.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, guys. Well, we love you and hope you have a good day or night or whenever you're listening. And we'll see you next time.
We'll be back.
Bye.
I saw you just the other night, walking with another guy, with his phone in his hand and his stride. He didn't pay you any mind, send you a snap, you reply right back. He'll wait half the night. You light up when he gives you half a smile. Won't you be mine? Oh, Christina. Oh, Christina. Why won't you be mine? You got a smile that makes me weak at the knees, even though it's not directed at me. And the first time I saw those eyes, oh my, it was love at first sight. And the way that you walk through a room, everyone's eyes lock on you. I wish you would give me half a chance for this next dance. Oh, Christina. Oh, Christina. Why won't you be mine? Oh, Christina. Oh, Christina. Why won't you be mine? Why won't you be mine? Why won't you be mine?